This was all part of his plan, using Master Cloudwalker as bait to draw out Sophia, the big fish hiding beneath the surface. Tang couldn't help but nod in admiration. "Your Highness is truly brilliant." Felix shook his head. "The clever one isn't me, it is my fifth sister. If not for his little sister's warning, he might still be deceived by Stella, slowly dying from the poison she served him bowl by bowl." Royal blood ties were thin, and he rarely had close relationships with his siblings. They seldom even met. But he never expected to find someone who genuinely cared for him. "Tang, didn't Mother send a box of pearls last time?" "Yes, Your Highness. These pearls are quite precious. Even Her Majesty the Empress has only one such box." Felix nodded and instructed. "Send them to Crystal Palace tomorrow. Say they're for the fifth princess." Tang's mouth fell open in shock. "What?" Felix turned his head. "Do you object?" Tang immediately shook his head. This servant wouldn't dare. But he remained puzzled. When had His Highness grown so fond of the fifth princess? He'd never even seen them speak to each other. At Tranquil Hall, Sophia listened to her maid Ruby's report, her frown deepening. Hasn't Master Cloudwalker been wandering outside the capital? Why would he suddenly come to the city? What does Stella say? Does the first prince suspect her now? Ruby lowered her head. Stella claims the first prince is devoted to her, following her every wish without the slightest suspicion. Sophia breathed a long sigh of relief and nodded. Good. When Master Cloudwalker enters the city, have our people intercept and eliminate him. The first prince's illness absolutely cannot be cured. Or how will my third prince ascend the throne? Ruby nodded. Your ladyship speaks wisely. And His Majesty? Whose chambers did he visit tonight? Ruby shook her head. His Majesty didn't visit anyone today. Sophia pursed her lips. That is normal enough. His Majesty rarely frequents the harem. Ruby hesitated. However what? Speak plainly. Ruby continued. However, His Majesty dined at Crystal Palace again tonight. That is 3 consecutive days. Even when Consort Vera personally invited him, he refused and remained at Crystal Palace. Such a thing has never happened before. Sophia frowned. Celeste usually keeps quiet, but apparently she has her schemes. My lady, shall we perhaps? Ruby made a slashing gesture across her throat. Sophia smiled coldly, her thin lips parting. Naturally. The next day, Luna slowly opened her eyes to find herself in the room. She pouted slightly. Faye, I wonder why Daddy keeps bringing me to the study. Once or twice was acceptable, but this is the 3rd time. Faye woo woo, I want to sleep in my beautiful mommy's arms. Faye, I don't understand. I am just a 3-year-old child with a throat condition who can't even speak. Why does Daddy insist on bringing me here? Adrian, who was reviewing memorials nearby, couldn't help but chuckle at her thoughts. He placed the day's pastries from the imperial kitchen before Luna, coaxing gently. Luna, are you hungry? Have some pastries. Luna's eyes immediately lit up as she grabbed one and began nibbling. Faye, delicious. The pastries sent to Daddy are 10,000 times better than those sent to Mommy's palace. Faye Kempfa. If there are delicious pastries, then coming to the study isn't so bad after all. Faye Adrian's lips curved upward. His little daughter was indeed a food lover. His special instructions to the kitchen to vary the finest pastries daily weren't in vain. Adrian continued reviewing memorials, his brow furrowing slightly when he saw a particular name. Charles Greenfield, Tavern Murder. Luna's hand holding the pastry froze at hearing this name. Charles Greenfield. Wasn't that Mommy's brother, her uncle? It seemed the plot was still following the original story. Luna immediately grew anxious. With her throat still unhealed, she could only make sounds while Faye Daddy. Uncle is innocent. He didn't commit murder. Fayette was Duke Kane's son. Edmund Kane, who killed the victim and deliberately framed Uncle. Fedmund and Uncle are the same age and served together in the military. But Uncle's achievements far exceeded his. Edmund was always jealous, and finally found an opportunity to frame him. Fedmund committed the murder, but the Metropolitan Court fears Duke Kane's power and conspired with Edmund to pin the blame on Uncle. Faye under Duke Kane's pressure, the court quickly closed the case and sentenced Uncle to death. After Uncle's execution, grandfather fell ill from grief, and Mommy was inconsolable. Soon after, they both passed away. Adrian's heart tightened at these words. Celeste would die. That couldn't happen. This matter required thorough investigation. Adrian gently patted the still, agitated Luna, saying warmly, "Don't worry, Luna. Father believes Charles Greenfield is innocent." He then turned and commanded sternly, "Prepare the carriage. I shall personally visit the Metropolitan Court." At the Metropolitan Court, Charles Greenfield, do you confess your guilt? The Metropolitan Magistrate lounged lazily in his chair, asking carelessly. Below in the hall, a young man in white robes knelt in the center, his upper body bound with hemp rope. Yet his spine remained straight. Charles Greenfield's handsome face showed no emotion. "I do not confess. I committed no murder," the magistrate replied. "Then what more can you argue? You clearly killed Harold Shaw." Nearby, Marcus Field quickly bowed and added, "Yes, sir. I was right there and saw everything." Charles Greenfield killed Harold Shaw. Charles spoke with disgust. "This Marcus is Edmund Kane's man," he says, whatever Edmund tells him to say. Edmund Kane, dressed in fine brocade, stood lazily to one side, his lips curving in a triumphant smile. So what if Charles was skilled in martial arts? Before the Kane family, he was nothing but an ant to be crushed at will. The magistrate picked at his ear, speaking slowly. Criminal Charles Greenfield refuses to confess. But the evidence is conclusive. Therefore, this court declares. Charles burst out in agitation, roaring his indignation. "Just beat me to death. Even if you kill me, I won't confess. I won't submit." Edmund Kane relies on his father, being Duke Kane, to run rampant in the capital. Every month, common people die by his hand. As the people's magistrate, have you ever intervened? Have you? The magistrate sipped his tea leisurely, as if he hadn't heard a word. As long as his position wasn't threatened, he didn't care. Let the common people die as they would. Edmund fingered the large jade ring on his hand, raising an eyebrow at Charles. "You are quite defiant, aren't you?" "So what? Your father is merely a fourth-rank assistant minister of revenue, while my father is Duke Kane, second rank. Moreover, he is the Marshal General personally appointed by His Majesty. As for your sister Celeste, she has only one little princess in the harem. My sister has a young prince. What do you have to compare with me?" Edmund's lips curved in a triumphant, provocative smile. Charles stared at him coldly, his voice icy. "We're both military officers. I earned my rank with blade and sword, fighting through mountains of corpses and seas of blood. You, on your first battle, were too frightened to hold your weapons steady. Your officer's rank was given to you by your father." Charles's gaze showed contempt as he spoke deliberately. Without your father, you are nothing. Seeming struck at his sore spot. Veins bulged on Edmund's neck as he raised his hand to strike. Charles faced him fearlessly, spine straight. Just as the slap was about to land on Charles's face, a shrill voice suddenly rang from outside. His Majesty arrives. The Emperor had come. Why would His Majesty visit the Metropolitan Court? Without time to think further, the magistrate scrambled from his chair and scurried to kneel in the main hall. Edmund, frightened into a cold sweat, quickly prostrated himself. As everyone waited with racing hearts, a figure in bright yellow slowly appeared before them. Rise. Looking up, they were surprised to discover His Majesty hadn't come alone. He held a precious little girl in his arms. This was the 5th princess. His Majesty had actually brought the 5th princess to the Metropolitan Court. Luna blinked her beautiful large eyes, immediately spotting Charles kneeling in the center. Fankel, don't be afraid. We've come to save you. Faye Daddy and I both know you are innocent. Faye he. Uncle is so handsome, truly worthy of being family. Faye hearing the voice. What strange sound was that? The voice, calling him uncle. Could it be? Charles looked up and met Luna's gaze directly. Luna smiled at him sweetly, revealing 2 adorable dimples. Seeing Luna's sweet smile, Charles couldn't help but smile back. This little niece of his, he'd only seen her once since birth, yet meeting her felt immediately familiar. This must be the power of blood relations. So what he'd just heard must be Luna's inner voice. His gaze shifted to the Emperor. Noting his expression showed no abnormality. Charles's brow moved slightly. Continue your trial. I am merely here to listen casually. Pay me no mind. Adrian's voice was measured, revealing no anger. The magistrate immediately relaxed. It seemed His Majesty sided with Duke Kane. This made sense. Everyone knew His Majesty trusted Duke Kane. Edmund couldn't help but smile smugly. Though father had been fined a year's salary, His Majesty apparently still trusted him greatly. Adrian sat in a prepared chair holding Luna. His expression relaxed and calm, appearing to genuinely just be observing. Only then did the magistrate truly relax, wiping cold sweat from his brow before continuing the judgment. Yesterday at the hour of the dog, a murder occurred in a private room at Tea Hill Tavern. The victim was a scholar named Harold Shaw, and suspect Charles Greenfield was caught at the scene. Tavern server Marcus Field and Officer Edmund Kane are both witnesses. The magistrate bowed to Adrian, his voice humble. Your Majesty, this concludes the case details. There are no remaining doubts. Luna wrinkled her little nose indignantly, complaining internally. Faye, no doubts. This case has more holes than you have hairs on your head. Faye Harold Shaw was Uncle's friend. Why would Uncle kill him? Have you found the motive? Faye, since it was a private room. How could Marcus and Edmund be witnesses? How did they get in? Did they watch Uncle commit murder? Faye, with your intelligence and ability, you shouldn't be an official. You'd kill chickens if you tried to feed them. Lose sheep if you tried to herd them. You are utterly useless. Adrian couldn't help but smile, nearly laughing aloud. His precious daughter was quite the sharp tongue, very much in his style. This magistrate was indeed worthless and couldn't be kept. Seeing Adrian's expression, the magistrate was puzzled. Why was His Majesty smiling? Was this case amusing? Perhaps. He thought the case was well handled. The magistrate's own lips curved upward at the thought. Maybe he was about to be promoted. This thought had barely crossed his mind when his smile vanished. Charles Greenfield. Tell your version. The deep magnetic voice rang out like thunder in the magistrate's and Edmund's ears. Both men's faces turned pale with terror. What did His Majesty mean? Adrian's gaze fell on the young man kneeling in the center. Truly Celeste's brother, they shared some resemblance. Charles pressed his lips together, a shadow crossing his handsome features. In the hall, the young man's clear voice began recounting the true events. Yesterday evening, I was dining with Harold Shaw in room 3 at Tea Hill Tavern when Edmund somehow learned of my presence there. He and server Marcus burst in together. Edmund was heavily intoxicated and began hurling insults at me upon seeing me. Harold couldn't bear it and spoke mockingly in return. Edmund flew into a rage, grabbed a nearby vase, and struck Harold's head directly, beating him to death. When someone died, the tavern owner quickly reported to authorities. But unexpectedly, Edmund and Marcus had conspired to blame everything on me. Only 4 people were in that room. They killed Harold, Edmund, and Marcus conspired together, and I became the so-called murderer. Edmund exploded in fury, veins bulging on his neck as he interrupted Charles. You are lying. You made all this up. You have no proof. He then lunged at Charles, trying to strangle him. Restrain him, Adrian commanded angrily. The guards reacted swiftly, pinning Edmund to the ground where he couldn't resist. Edmund is so stupid. Getting so agitated and exposing everything at once. I wonder how Duke Kane produced such a foolish son. Fano, it seems, the key lies with Marcus. If he tells the truth, Uncle can be cleared. Adrian nodded. His daughter thought exactly as he did. Truly his child. Instead of dealing with the crazed Edmund, Adrian focused on the silent Marcus. Marcus, you are the only witness to this case. Tell us, what exactly did you see? Marcus immediately trembled violently. He still couldn't determine whether His Majesty sided with Duke Kane or truly wanted to uncover the truth. If he told the truth, Duke Kane surely wouldn't spare him. Adrian watched the prostrate, silent Marcus, his voice ice cold. Marcus. Remember that deceiving the Emperor warrants execution of 9 generations of family. Speak truthfully. With me here, who dares touch you? Marcus's heart shook at these words. With desperate resolve, he pointed at Edmund and shouted, Harold Shaw was killed by Edmund Kane. By Edmund, he also forced me to lie and blame everything on Charles Greenfield, to make Charles bear this crime. Your Majesty, please see clearly. Edmund Kane forced this humble one to do everything. You are lying. You are framing me, Edmund protested hoarsely from the ground, where guards restrained him. Marcus grew urgent too. Your Majesty, I have proof. Last night, Edmund gave me 2 gold ingots to serve him well. I still have the gold on me. If Edmund hadn't given it to me, where would a humble servant get so much gold? Marcus produced 2 gold ingots from his sleeve. The gleaming gold appeared before everyone, shocking all present. Edmund stopped struggling entirely. Adrian's gaze swept to Edmund as he thundered. The evidence is conclusive. Witness and physical proof are present. What more do you have to say? Release Charles Greenfield immediately, and bind the murderer Edmund Kane. Daddy is wise and mighty. He uncovered the true culprit immediately. Fake uncle is finally saved. How wonderful. However, Luna's smile faded when she noticed the gold on the ground, and she made displeased sounds. This Edmund is quite wealthy, casually rewarding people with 2 gold ingots, while I still don't have a single gold piece. Fate unhappy. Very unhappy. Adrian couldn't help but laugh. He'd have to visit the treasury later to find fine things for Luna. He could let anyone suffer, but not his precious Luna. Charles, also hearing the inner voice, grew thoughtful. When he returned home, he'd retrieve his personal savings and have them sent to the palace for Luna. Seeing the situation turn dire, the magistrate immediately rolled from his chair and prostrated himself before Adrian and Luna, frantically kowtowing. "This is all this humble minister's fault. I failed to judge character properly, believing Edmund and wrongfully accusing Charles Greenfield. Please punish this minister, Your Majesty. Phoeba, you clearly conspired with Edmund to frame Uncle, but now you act like the victim. You are so shameless. You could tear off your left cheek and stick it on your right cheek for double the shamelessness. Asterisk Faye disgusting. Disgusting. So disgusting. Asterisk Adrian suppressed laughter, gently patting the continuously babbling Luna. Luna was truly adorable, even with her throat in such condition. She kept talking, at this rate. Who knew when Luna's throat would heal? Your Majesty, the facts aren't as the magistrate claims. The now unbound Charles bowed, speaking clearly. Please speak. Faygreet, Uncle's going to tell the truth. Asterisk Fakel is so handsome. I love Uncle so much. Asterisk hearing Luna's praise, Charles forcibly suppressed his smile, saying matter-of-factly. The magistrate wasn't unknowing. This matter was planned by both the magistrate and Edmund. Earlier in the hall, the magistrate ignored my defense and was ready to convict me directly. All the officers present can testify. Adrian, having heard Luna's inner voice, completely believed Charles's words, but he still made a show of scanning the surrounding officers. His voice carried stern authority. Is this true? The officers quickly knelt and nodded. One officer spoke boldly. Your Majesty, it is true. The magistrate said not to mind Charles Greenfield, to convict him directly. He said if anything went wrong, Duke Kane would handle it. Adrian laughed coldly. I wasn't aware that Duke Kane now rules this capital. At these words, both the magistrate and Edmund broke out in cold sweats, but Charles now fully understood the Emperor's intentions. His Majesty no longer trusted Duke Kane as before. Charles prostrated himself before Adrian, speaking words long buried in his heart. Your Majesty, this subject wishes to formally accuse Officer Edmund Kane of treating human life as worthless. In 3 years, he has killed 18 innocent civilians. I have evidence for every case. Magistrate Zhang Ming knew of all these murders, but never intervened, allowing Edmund to act with impunity. Despite my repeated written accusations, there was never any response. As Adrian listened, his frown deepened, and his expression grew colder. Detestable. Absolutely detestable. It was his fault for poor judgment, trusting Duke Kane too much. He never imagined Kane had grown so arrogant. Adrian's anger built until he grabbed his teacup and smashed it violently on the ground. Outrageous. Everyone except Charles and Luna cowered in fear. Luna blinked her beautiful eyes and gently patted Adrian's shoulder. Faye Daddy. Don't be angry. The bad one is Duke Kane. He betrayed your trust. Don't blame yourself. Asterisk Faye besides. Now that you've seen Duke Kane's true face, everything can still be fixed. Asterisk under Luna's tender, clear consolation. Adrian's mood inexplicably calmed, though he maintained his angry facade, pointing at the magistrate. Summonin' like you. How do you deserve to be the people's magistrate? Incompetent and foolish. Calling you worthless would soil the word. The magistrate knelt trembling. Finally, Adrian pronounced his stern judgment. By imperial decree, Metropolitan Magistrate Zhang Ming. For dereliction of duty and corruption, is sentenced to immediate execution tomorrow. Yes! The guards bowed and immediately dragged the collapsed Jiang Ming away. Jiang Ming cried and pleaded for mercy but soon fell silent. Luna lay in Adrian's arms, still somewhat shaken. Phew. That was truly dangerous. Fortunately, Daddy was perceptive and judicious. Otherwise, Uncle would have died wrongly. Faithus was clearly a straightforward case. But corrupt power can turn black to white, transform innocent people into murderers, then execute them wrongfully. Duke Cain's power is truly too great. Alas. Adrian listened silently, his gaze falling on Edmund on the ground. Edmund was too frightened to speak. Adrian's voice was heavy. Criminal Edmund Cain, 100 lashes, imprisonment in the dungeon, awaiting judgment. Duke Cain hadn't been completely dealt with yet, so Edmund's life would be temporarily spared. Moreover, though Adrian completely believed Luna's words about Cain's grain embezzlement, no concrete evidence had been found yet. Perhaps Edmund would prove a breakthrough. Guards led Edmund outside for his punishment, his screams echoing from beyond. With the hall suddenly quiet, Adrian breathed a long sigh of relief. This time was entirely thanks to Luna. Without her, he might have truly wronged Charles Greenfield, causing consequences he couldn't bear. Now he'd not only dealt with corrupt officials, but caught Duke Cain's key weakness. Luna truly was his lucky star. Charles also looked gratefully at Luna. It was truly thanks to her. Luna smiled sweetly, her small dimples showing. Faye, how wonderful that everything's resolved. Faye hope Daddy can promote Uncle. He is a rare military talent. Faye a truly heroic young general, who could help Daddy expand the realm. Adrian perked up at this. Though Duke Cain had strong military abilities, his excessive power and treasonous intentions made him unusable. With Cain's downfall, the military would lack capable leaders. Adrian's gaze fell on Charles. Upright posture, bright eyes, radiating righteousness. Adrian nodded satisfactorily and asked Charles, I don't recall seeing you at morning court. What is your current position? Charles bowed. Your Majesty, this subject is currently a 9th rank valor officer, without qualification to attend court or meet your Majesty. Adrian nodded thoughtfully, then said, I think highly of you. Being a 9th rank minor official truly wastes your talents. He raised his voice. I decree your promotion to 4th rank Cloud Banner General. Charles was shocked and delighted, standing stunned before finally reacting. He quickly kowtowed. This subject, thanks your Majesty for such great favor. From 9th rank to 4th rank in one leap, at only 20 years old, this was truly heavenly grace. Luna clapped her little hands excitedly. Faye greet, Uncle's been promoted. Faye mommy and grandfather will be so happy. Adrian was equally pleased. Gaining such exceptional military talent made this trip to the Metropolitan Court incredibly worthwhile. News of the day's events at the Metropolitan Court spread throughout the capital within hours. At the Cain estate, My lord, what shall we do? Duchess Cain dabbed her eyes with a handkerchief. Edmund has never suffered such hardship in his life. I heard he received 100 lashes. His Majesty was too harsh. Duke Cain sat in the main hall's place of honor, expression stern, saying nothing. Duchess Cain grew frantic. My lord, please say something. What about Edmund? We only have this one son. Though he is spoiled, Edmund is still a good boy at heart. Duke Cain spoke heavily. Wife, don't worry. His Majesty only had Edmund flogged, not executed like Magistrate Jiang Ming. His Majesty likely showed Edmund mercy for my sake. Edmund is merely imprisoned. He'll probably be released in a few days. Duchess Kane's voice carried unease. Then why did His Majesty suddenly visit the Metropolitan Court to personally judge such a minor case? Might he have discovered something? Duke Kane shook his head confidently. Impossible. My plans for that matter are extremely well concealed. His Majesty couldn't discover them. His Majesty's actions suggest he felt we were too ostentatious recently, and wanted to warn us. As for Charles Greenfield, that is probably just giving Celeste some face. After Duke Kane's careful analysis, Duchess Kane relaxed. In 2 years, this realm would be theirs. That evening at Crystal Palace, Luna struggled to hold an enormous pearl, her beautiful eyes sparkling brilliantly, as she exclaimed excitedly, Faye, thank you. First Prince. He is truly so kind. Asterisks there now. Luna. Let Mommy put the pearl away safely. All right, Celeste coaxed gently. She never expected the First Prince to send such valuable gifts. She was stunned upon seeing them. But why was the First Prince suddenly so kind to Luna? They'd never even spoken. Luna shook her head, clutching the pearl tightly. Faye, no, the pearl and I are best friends forever. Asterisk Celeste tapped Luna's little nose. Little treasure lover. Your ladyship, wonderful news. Nina rushed in from outside, face bright with joy. His Majesty, His Majesty. Nina swallowed excitedly. His Majesty promoted the young master directly from 9th to 4th rank. What? Celeste exclaimed joyfully, her voice rising. Not only that. His Majesty also promoted the master from 4th rank Assistant Minister of Revenue to 3rd rank Minister of Revenue. Luna gasped in surprise. Faye, Daddy also promoted grandfather. I just learned about this too. Asterisk Faye, Daddy's quite savvy. Good for him. Asterisk Nina spoke proudly with slight indignation. The harem always gossiped that your ladyship came from humble origins, with no court support. Let's see who dares say that now. Anyone with eyes can see His Majesty greatly values our Greenfield family. Celeste laughed lightly, gently chiding Nina. Such words are fine within our palace, but don't speak so outside. Nina had grown up with her. She was naturally frank and often spoke without thinking. Though His Majesty currently favored the Greenfield family, they must remain steady and not get carried away. Nina nodded quickly. Your lady, I know what to say and what not to say. Luna listened to their conversation, her eyes drooping with successive yawns until she finally fell asleep. Nina continued. By the way, your ladyship. Sophia sent someone earlier, saying she is preparing a banquet at Tranquil Hall tomorrow, asking if your ladyship will attend. Celeste looked at Luna's peaceful sleeping face, considering carefully. I'll go. With the Empress and Empress Dowager at Spirit Mountain for prayers. Sophia currently manages the 6 palaces. If I don't attend, who knows how she might target us later. Nina nodded. Your ladyship speaks wisely. I'll prepare your attire for tomorrow. At the First Prince's manor, Felix dismounted his carriage, rubbing his aching temples. That afternoon, he'd suddenly received Father's decree to interrogate Edmund Kane in prison, extracting evidence of Duke Kane's grain embezzlement. The questioning lasted until now, finally forcing out some information. Felix returned to the main courtyard, unable to suppress his coughing. Your Highness, you forgot to take your medicine again. Stella strode to Felix's side, reaching to support him. Felix frowned at those hands, discreetly withdrawing his arm. I am too tired today. No medicine, I'll retire now. You should rest early, too. Stella remained frozen, her smile stiff. What did this invalid mean? Stella's mind raced. This shouldn't be happening. She'd followed the plot exactly. Poisoning Felix meant he'd die mysteriously next year, with everyone attributing it to poor health. Though the rebellion failed in the book, with her help, Duke Kane would certainly succeed. She knew the plot. After the successful rebellion, she'd marry the third prince and become Empress of the Great Moon Kingdom. These thoughts cheered Stella considerably. Felix was already deeply poisoned, and wouldn't live much longer anyway. His current thoughts didn't matter. The next day, Luna slowly opened her eyes to find herself still in Crystal Palace. Faye Daddy didn't bring me to the study today. Asterisk Faye Wonderful. I can spend the whole day cuddling with Mommy. Asterisk Luna yawned and sat up in bed. Hearing movement, Celeste quickly came to the bedside. The moment Luna saw Celeste, her eyes widened. Today Celeste wore an orchid-colored palace gown, her cloud, like hair arranged in a side chignon. A jade hairpin adorned the style, its trailing tassels swaying gently with movement. Her lightly powdered face wore a gentle smile that drew all attention to her. Faye. Beautiful at first glance. Still beautiful at second, third, fourth, and fifth glances. Asterisk Faye cuddling with beautiful Mommy. Kiss kiss. Asterisk Faye asterisk hearing Luna's thoughts, Celeste couldn't help but smile. Luna's words were truly sweet. Would Luna like to go flower viewing with Mommy today? Previously, His Majesty had come every morning to take Luna away. Now it was already mid-morning with no sign of him. They might as well take Luna to the Imperial Gardens for flower viewing and fresh air. Luna nodded vigorously at these words. Fae flower viewing sounds great. There'll surely be many beautiful ladies there. Asterisk Faye want to go, Mommy. I want to go too. Asterisk hearing these thoughts, Celeste found them amusing but also worrying. Luna's throat still hadn't healed. After returning from flower viewing, she'd summoned Dr. Shu to examine her again. At the Imperial Gardens, concubine Ning. You know what to do, right? Concubine Ning lowered her head, looking somewhat fearful at Sophia before her. She nodded slightly. This concubine understands. Sophia smiled satisfactorily. Before turning to leave, concubine Ning watched Sophia's retreating figure, gently stroking her belly. This pregnancy was doomed anyway. Better to use it to gain Sophia's protection. Celeste brought Luna to the gardens in a sedan chair. Soon after alighting, a gentle female voice called from behind. Sister Celeste has finally arrived. I've been waiting so long. Sophia approached and intimately took Celeste's hand, calling her sister with apparent affection. They exchanged pleasantries as other concubines gradually gathered. So this is the fifth princess, truly adorable. The fifth princess is only 3, but already such a little beauty. Luna nestled in Celeste's arms, listening to the praise and smiling with curved eyes, her small dimples showing adorably. Haha, the fifth princess is smiling. She looks so lovely when she smiles. Hearing the praise, Sophia's smile grew somewhat stiff. Everyone in the palace knew the fifth princess was His Majesty's favorite. Thinking of her third prince, Sophia felt somewhat sour. His Majesty's affection for the third prince wasn't even half that shown to the fifth princess. Sophia scanned the group, cleared her throat, and successfully drew everyone's attention. She smiled lightly, saying slowly, "The fifth princess just recovered from serious illness. We shouldn't crowd around her. It is bad for the little princess's health." Everyone reluctantly dispersed into smaller groups for flower viewing. "Luna, shall we go look over there?" Celeste set Luna down, taking her small hand and coaxing gently. Luna nodded enthusiastically. "Faye, as long as I am with Mommy. Anywhere is fine." Watching their departing figures, Sophia immediately signaled Concubine Ning. Concubine Ning nodded and quickly followed. It was currently autumn, and the imperial gardens bloomed with various chrysanthemums. Luna looked around in wonder, truly befitting the imperial palace. "Luna, be careful not to fall." Celeste followed behind, watching her somewhat unsteady steps with gentle laughter. Even Luna's walking was adorable. Hearing this, Luna turned around, just in time to see a pink figure suddenly dart from behind Celeste. The person deliberately bumped into Celeste, then dramatically fell to the ground. Luna stared in shock. "Faye, what kind of scam is this?" The pink figure immediately began wailing after falling. "Ah, my child," before she finished speaking. Sophia rushed over with a group of concubines. Sophia exclaimed, "Concubine Ning! What happened? Quickly summon the imperial physician." Concubine Ning clutched her belly, looking pained. Sophia appeared terrified, asking urgently, "Sister Ning, what happened? What occurred?" Concubine Ning's face was pale, tears falling heavily as she spoke tremblingly. This concubine doesn't know how she offended Consort Celeste. Consort Celeste suddenly pushed this concubine. Sophia immediately gasped, covering her mouth in disbelief. How could this happen?" The concubine's gazes toward Celeste turned contemptuous. Everyone said, Celeste was gentle and never competed for favor. Apparently, that wasn't true at all. Who knew Celeste could be so vicious? Watching their performance, Luna and Celeste felt speechless. Such terrible acting. Faye, Mommy's only been favored for a few days, and they're already so eager to frame her. Celeste held Luna's hand, expression calm. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, a shrill voice interrupted. "His Majesty arrives." Everyone immediately bowed upon hearing this. "This concubine greets your Majesty." Adrian surveyed the chaotic group, frowning. "What is happening here?" Sophia eagerly stepped forward. "Your Majesty, during today's flower viewing, Celeste somehow pushed Concubine Ning. This pregnancy may not be saved." Concubine Ning immediately squeezed out tears, gazing pitifully at Adrian with trembling lips, appearing vulnerable. Just as Adrian felt moved, a clear, childish voice rang in his ears. "Faye, no way. No way. My daddy can't actually believe such a low-quality palace drama plot." Adrian frowned slightly. Low. What was low? Though he didn't understand the word, he grasped the palace drama reference. He detested such schemes, most of all. Adrian regarded the prostrate concubine Ning coolly, his earlier sympathy transformed into pure irritation. Adrian's voice was icy. "What are you waiting for? Help concubine Ning up and summon the physician." Both concubine Ning and Sophia froze. Why was His Majesty suddenly so angry? Was he angry at Celeste? With this thought, both women relaxed. Celeste was finished this time. Following Adrian's orders, concubine Ning was quickly carried to a nearby palace chamber. Everyone waited bedside for the physician's diagnosis. Sophia dabbed her handkerchief beside Adrian, tearfully complaining. "Please seek justice for poor Sister Ning. This is her first pregnancy, and such a thing happened." So pitiful. When this concubine arrived, only Celeste and the little princess were near Sister Ning. Adrian frowned. You are saying only Celeste. Concubine Ning and the little princess were present. Yes, Your Majesty. The truth couldn't be clearer. Sophia wiped tears from her eyes, darkness flickering in them. They'd planned this perfectly, knowing Celeste disliked bringing servants. They waited until Celeste was alone with Luna before sending concubine Ning to stage, being knocked down by Celeste. After all, everyone knew 5th Princess Luna had been poisoned and couldn't speak. Even if Luna witnessed everything, she couldn't help Celeste. No one could testify for her. Harming an imperial heir meant certain death for Celeste. Luna fumed internally at Sophia's words. What truth? The truth is, concubine Ning deliberately staged a fall. She deliberately fell in front of Mommy to frame her. Faith's pregnancy was already doomed. She just wanted to use this chance to harm Mommy. Faith's Sophia is conspiring with concubine Ning. They planned this whole charade together. Seeing His Majesty's lack of response, Sophia quickly signaled the physician. Dr. Wang immediately bowed. Your Majesty, concubine Ning's miscarriage resulted from external impact. Feiyu lying physician, Fei concubine Ning miscarried because of the abortion medicine she drank before leaving, not from any fall. Feiko, I understand now. You are Sophia's person. Conspiring to frame Mommy. Adrian thought. Why did everyone love bribing physicians? Vera bribed Dr. Zhang, Sophia bribed Dr. Wang. Everyone had their own physician. Apparently Luna grew angrier. Fei, I thought Daddy was so wise and mighty. But he is also deceived by such petty tricks. Faderant, tyrant. He is no longer my good daddy. Stung by being called a tyrant, Adrian immediately fixed Dr. Wang with a cold stare. Dr. Wang, are you certain concubine Ning miscarried from falling? Dr. Wang immediately prostrated himself in terror. This subject. Adrian pursed his lips. Imperial authority pressing down heavily. Remember, deceiving the emperor warrants execution of 9 generations. Dr. Wang's forehead broke out in cold sweat. His Majesty must know something, or he wouldn't ask such questions. If he continued helping Sophia, he'd meet a bad end. Thinking this, Dr. Wang kowtowed heavily. Please forgive this subject. Your Majesty. This subject didn't intend to deceive you. Concubine Ning, she